Welcome to the Tank Podcast. In this week's episode, novelist Nadifa Mohamed meets Nobel Prize-winning author Abdulrazak Gurnah for lunch, where they discuss food, democratic backsliding, and Gurnah's new novel Theft.
So I have read Theft and I loved it.
No, thank you.
And I want to talk a bit about food in Theft. And there's one meal in particular, which is fish, that's served by Badr with his the lady of the house's help. And it's like a steamed fish with a bit of ginger. And it's served with, is it plantain? No. What's it served with? Yam? It sounds delicious.
Mango.
Mango. Which one?
The green mango.
Green mango, that's it. Yeah. Tell me about that dish.
Well, it's very simple. It's like just simply a poached fish.
Yeah.
So a little bit of stock, fish stock.
Yeah.
You put the fish in there, you put the mango in at the same time. You cut it not so thin, but a wedge. A little bit of chili and salt.
Just like that. It sounds really good. I didn't have that in Zanzibar. I had the spicy things, the very spicy curries.
No, but that's what restaurants do. They give you things that are always overdone. But this is a very, very light and delicate
Do you cook?
flavor. Yeah, I cooked it.
Do you cook now?
Oh yeah, I cook, but I don't cook that because you have to have the right fish for a start,
Yeah.
and the mango has to be green,
Yeah.
none of which is always available like that. But when we eat it, we like it, rather when you cook it.
Yeah. Another thing that struck me about the book was I could tell that you were traveling a lot while writing it. And I think you were very conscious of hotels and the way that they operate, what's said, what's unsaid, the comfort levels, the people that work in them. And also, I think there was even a sense of where you were, and I couldn't tell where you were, but I had a vague sense of where you had been in the places that I'd seen you, such as Kenya, where was it else? Pakistan. And I wondered if some of the politics of being in those sorts of places, being who you are, being where you're coming from, how that fed into the novel. Your own experiences of being a tourist, being a traveler, but also
so.
being on the other side of it as well.
I don't think so. The idea of that particular hotel, because it's not a hotel like the ones I've been staying in, really.
Yeah.
It's a very particular kind of.
Yes. But you
somebody's
probably had
house.
stayed in those in the past.
When I wrote that, I hadn't stayed in a hotel like that, but I've seen them. There are in Zanzibar, in the town.
Yeah.
There are several of them. People's houses that have been turned into hotels.
Yes.
Like that. And there was one in particular, which I had lunch in there once, and it was still in the process of being refurbished. And I remember what that place was before.
It was someone's house,
It was a shop, haberdashers.
an Indian family.
Yeah, an Indian family. But of course, you never see inside when you just see the shop. The people live inside. So
Yeah.
But the person whose restaurant it was an American,
American.
white American, yeah. But he'd been living in Zanzibar for a few years, and this was his second restaurant. He said, "Do you want to see the building?" As he was lovely. We're still doing it up, but do you want? So I actually got to a little tour, and I saw the inside of this. And I thought,
Mid-renovation.
yeah, I know rubble everywhere, and so, but it was still beautiful, even though it was in this state. So that was my image, really.
When was that?
That would have been possibly maybe 2016, something like that.
So I would have thought Zanzibar then was in the thick. It's already had experienced a lot of tourification.
Yeah, but not of the town. In the town, there were some of those hotels near the sea, but not in the middle of the town. because those ones catered for low-budget tourists. What has happened more recently is that those ones in the town have become boutique.
Yes, I went to a couple of them when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're very comfortable.
crazy comfortable. Actually, in the end, did stay in that very same one, now refurbished, in 2023, 22, I can't remember which one of those times.
What's it called?
I can't remember what it's called now. The Spice Inn, that sort of thing. I called it the Tamarind, but by then I'd already written the book, so it wasn't. I imagined those encounters with the people who work there from what little I know. But it was very interesting for me to go back and I was laughing to myself as I was staying in this place last year, I think it was. This is exactly how I thought of it, this kind of stuff. It was just a piece of luck.
And it fit.
Mostly, yeah.
I was really shocked about the novel because I didn't know anything really about it when I read it maybe 3 months ago. So I just went into it cold. And I assumed in the first 50, 60 pages that it was set 50s, 60s, 70s. And then when he starts talking about a word processor and you suddenly plunged into it being the 1990s, it was disturbing, I think, because there was a level of poverty and disconnection from the rest of the world that I didn't want to believe was still alive in the 1990s, but it is.
When I first went back to Zanzibar in 1984, and then I went back again in 1986, then I went back again in 1989. So for the last half of the 80s, I was there fairly regularly. I can tell you that one of the more shocking things I found out, which I write about in Admiring Silence, the toilets were blocked.
All of them?
Every fucking single one of them. The toilets were blocked. There was no water.
Oh no, just as the food arrives.
So you're saying levels of poverty?
Yeah.
That was shocking.
That's bad. So how long did that last?
Well, it certainly lasted the whole period I was there.
Weeks.
It had been going on for several weeks. There was no water because whatever the pumping station had broken down, and there was no money to replace it, and the system, that is what the administrative system, just wasn't working well enough to look after the simple, ordinary necessities. As for word processors and things like that, you have to be sort of follow the thing through to see what year is this exactly that we're talking about. I mean, obviously, I made sure that I was not getting the dates wrong. My cousin, who was a teacher, was an academic in Papua New Guinea. Well, he was also an academic in other places, but his last academic position was in Papua New Guinea for many years, and he decided at the age of 52, something like that, to retire from that and to return to Zanzibar. He had a bit of money. His father was quite reasonably well off, and he was able to reclaim some of the properties that the government had taken away.
This is your cousin?
This is my cousin, yeah. He's dead.
Okay.
Now. So he returned with his family with the intention of starting a computing business. So if you're worrying about people knowing about those things, that year was actually 1990. So he purchased some computers in Hong Kong on the way back, as it were, and he was going to set up a little business selling and advising and, kind of computer room, still a novel idea. So in other words, even in 1990, people in Zanzibar were already aware and using
So he wasn't the first?
No.
How have you been coping with the world as it is right now?
It's fine. It's okay. Why are you doing that? It's absolutely fine. I'm perfectly at ease.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
But I've seen you signing petitions, I've seen you doing things here and there. So how I feel at the moment, I've had to retreat from a public space because the world has become so chaotic and illiberal and violent. And you haven't, I don't think you've stepped back from a public space, but you also don't seem to be worried either.
You mean worried about the world or worried about what's going on in my...
The world.
Well, I'm worried to the extent of being distressed by what's happening in Gaza. The other things, in a way, you have to switch off what's happening in the United States, I think. Or at least I feel I have to.
But you'll go there, I'm guessing, soon.
Not
book
that
things?
much.
I'd be worried about going right now.
Yeah, but I'm not going
You're not going.
at the moment. So I'm not worried about that.
What about your simultaneous publication date?
but
That's all been set up.
That's already gone. But it doesn't mean everybody in the United States is an asshole.
No,
Just because they're led by an asshole.
no. But it makes being there, according to who you are, a more challenging prospect.
It's always been that way, though.
To degrees, and I think we've now hit a level that I've never seen before in my life.
No, that's true.
I'm constantly kind of monitoring it. It's like taking a temperature, and I wouldn't feel safe going there right now.
But you've lived there. I've never lived there.
Just for 6 months.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've never even gone there. I think the longest I've been there is 3.5 weeks when we did that tour. But otherwise, it's just go in for a conference or
Yeah.
whatever and then go away. It's not a place I know or feel bound to in any way at all.
Me neither. Me neither. But it was kind of on my map. And I'm wondering now if it's still on my map.
Sure. I would imagine there are a lot of people who think like that,
Yeah.
who think, well, I'm not going back there again. But it would perhaps not be the responsibility, if you like, of everybody that things are as they are. It's a very divided country.
Yes.
And there are some very strong and good and hardworking people. I mean, in terms of ideas and in terms of their commitment to ideas.
But I think what your work has been focused on, and what I'm interested in as well, is frontiers and who you are when you cross that frontier. So the conversation that Salim has in By the Sea when he arrives in Britain to claim asylum, and there's that very demeaning conversation he has with Edelman. Is his name Edelman? And now that's still the case. But I feel as if everything you've ever said, thought, not just what you're carrying on your body and what papers you carry, it's who you are in a much more entire way that's being pushed out or detained or brutalized in some way.
I don't feel like that.
You don't feel like that?
I don't feel that it is anything new going on.
Why not?
Because it's been going on. It's familiar. It doesn't feel new to me. It doesn't feel that, in fact, if anything, it feels that there is now greater resistance to it from within these societies, here as well as in the US and parts of Europe as well. Now it seems to me there is a recognition of what the issues are.
But maybe that recognition has made the counter response more aggressive.
Possibly, but I like to think that this is a defensive position now, a position of being, resentful and angry and so on, because there is a sense of vulnerability, that assurance. Whereas before there was total assurance.
Yes, yeah. I think it's a much more conflicted public space when it comes to race, migration.
So I see that therefore as an advance.
I think it scares me.
From a position of kind of consensus. There is no issue. Now there is an issue. Now there is an issue.
On either side.
There is a debate where there wasn't one before.
But I think both the US and UK, which are racist societies, like historically in most ways, they were also kind of, for most of their history up until the 20th century, they were quite undecided about immigration. You could land in
Well,
England
it's-
with no passport and just be absorbed into society, and true of the US for a long period of time. So the past 100 years has been a working out of the terms of letting in people like you and I.
And the Chinese and the Indians and the West Indians and everybody.
Yes, people like you and I in various ways.
All right, okay.
But we are now here. We are here generationally, and it makes me think why this can only get worse, because the intimacy is greater now, the expectation is greater now, the resentment is greater now. That's, I think, the thing that scares me.
Well, if that's how it seems to you, then that's how it seems to you. It doesn't seem that way to me. So maybe
So why do you feel more? I still.
because I compare to what there was before, even in this particular landscape, as it were, in this particular country. I compare, and in particular, I've been referring to the way in which now there is a debate where there wasn't one before. And I would say that is the greatest advance. So that now certain things cannot be said publicly, certain things cannot be done publicly.
But they can again.
No, they can be said, but with opprobrium following.
Not with Trump
Oh, well, that's another place. I'm talking about here.
in England. I think it's definitely slipping, and I think the Labour Party, all of the political parties have slipped.
Very likely. But this is debate, back and forth, back and forth. Don't give in.
I have given in.
Don't.
I have.
Stop it. That's the whole point. You know, this is a decades-long thing that people have been doing. We've all been through all this.
I hear you. And my dad must have experienced crazy things in 40s, 50s, 60s. It must have been wild. But maybe in a way, I've got used to thinking of those decades as less enlightened, benighted in some way. But we're not better now. I don't think we're better now.
But you're still wanting to kick this thing around. I'm saying, no, we're not. But there is something different. That now there is speaking. And so there are positions. There are people who are saying, no, we don't want anything to do with these people. I have nothing against people who have a different culture. I overheard somebody was walking around Canterbury yesterday. Denise and I were walking to. I overheard somebody say, look, I have nothing against people of a different culture. Yep. We are still there, you know.
Yeah.
But he's almost apologetic in the way he's saying it.
And dishonest.
And in the way that we would not have been any hint of apology. Or any awareness, indeed, that there is anything to apologize for.
I don't know. I think even in the 60s, there was that mentality of, well, I don't care what people's colour is. It's just they do this, they do that, they do this.
Yeah, well, you want to go back to the 60s.
I think we've gone back to the 60s. I don't want to. I think we have.
No, we haven't. It was different in the 60s.
Tell me how.
Everything that was on television was racist. There was not even any attempt for it to be anything but a comedy.
Yeah.
It's different now.
Yes. Yeah, I think that kind of representation is different.
On the football field, there was not a single black player. When the first black player appeared, I think it was somebody like Clyde Best or Viv Anderson or something like that. Every time they were playing, we were there, you know, sort of celebrating. Now look at it.
Yeah.
The whole of the French team is...
Yeah. I remember being young in the 80s, early 90s, and the excitement of seeing someone black on TV. Never mind Somali. I don't think you ever saw anyone Somali, but anyone black was exciting enough, or Asian even. And you would get calls saying, have you seen so-and-so? Have you watched so-and-so?
Even if they're rubbish, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. That didn't matter.
So there they were. You know, people from Zanzibar, perhaps in the Somalis do this as well, I've seen, wear those little kofia things.
Yeah.
So they were their kanzu and kofia. Like that.
Yep.
But they couldn't have been Somalis. You could see from their faces.
How can you tell?
It's something to do with the physiognomy. You know, you can see. I was talking to somebody in Abu Dhabi, I think, or was it somewhere else? No, it was Cambridge. She was one of the events I went to recently, and she was serving us like this, and I said, "Excuse me, are you from Kenya?" She said, "Yes. How did you know?"
Yeah, I can tell Kenyans. I can tell Kenyans. I can tell. Can you tell Zanzibaris?
I probably can guess, but they could be from Mombasa.
Yeah, I'd struggle.
It could be from Mombasa, or from somewhere along the coast, or indeed from the Comoros. It's that mixture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can tell. My dad was so good at telling Somalis. He could tell them from behind at 20 paces.
Yeah. I think on the whole, I can claim like a 60% chance of being able to tell a Somali.
Yeah.
Well, I think so anyway. There's a certain kind of physique.
I don't know if I agree. I can tell, but I was actually thinking this the other day. How can I tell?
Always disagrees with everything.
It's true. And someone said my favorite phrase is not necessarily.
I prefer not to.
I can't help it. That's. I've always been like that. Not necessarily.
Yeah. You don't think that's Somali or anything like that? Contentious lot.
No, I think it was my dad. I think he raised me to be like that. But I think you're contrary.
Nope.
You are contrary.
No, absolutely out of the question.
I think you are.
No.
To hear more podcasts from Tank, you can subscribe on all major podcast platforms or follow us on SoundCloud. The theme music for this podcast is by Himera.